You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, home of Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, right here on The Key and YouTube.com at Braves Country.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Lvii and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Hey folks, this is Mark White with The Mark White Show, and you can tune into The Mark White Show every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. right here on Rock 99 WQEE The Key, the home of Southern sports and talk.
Are you looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile. Right now, get a $99 new patient special, including x-rays and exam. Maybe you're looking for veneers. Most Valuable Smiles veneer special includes one free veneer with every 5 purchased. Or get that bright white smile you've always wanted by taking advantage of an exclusive $100 off Zoom whitening treatment when you book today. And don't forget that 2022 is almost over. That means most insurance policies will reset by the new year, and to avoid losing that extra money, you need to use it or lose it. Book an appointment today with Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton to lock in these exclusive deals. Call 706-623-0318 or visit mostvaluablesmiles.com.
Enjoy sun-drenched days, epic stays, and plenty of room to roam in Greater Fort Lauderdale. Our hotels, attractions, and restaurants have taken the Visit Lauderdale's Safe and Clean pledge, so you can relax and explore with confidence. When you're ready for that well-deserved staycation, our 23 miles of golden beaches await. Find wide-open spaces to hike, bike, kayak, and paddleboard. Visit your favorite attractions, then dine out in style in dining rooms or al fresco on waterfront patios. Learn more at sunny.org.
It all starts with just one thing. When recycling, rinse out jars and cans, and avoid recycling wax paper or paper soiled with food. This will reduce recycling contamination. Find tips and more at onethingus.com. What's your one thing?
Hey sports fans, The Key has a brand new show. Braves Country is coming your way weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We'll be talking the Atlanta Braves and Major League Baseball, along with everything important to sports fans in Braves Country. The SEC, ACC, Big Ten, and the National Football League, and the big sports news of the day. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE The Key, 99.1 FM, and simulcasting on youtube.com/at Braves Country.
At Shell, we know from the time you get up to the time you wrap up,
good night,
there's a lot of meetups, eat-ups, and hurry-ups. So come to Shell and get 3 things done at once. Fill up with Shell V Power Nitro Plus to help keep your engine running like new. Save up with the Fuel Rewards program and never pay full price for gas again. And snack up with in-store rewards to save even more at the pump. Make the most of the stop you need to make with Shell and engines that continuously use Shell V Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline. See full terms and conditions at fuelrewards.com.
That's the sound of NyQuil Severe hard at work. NyQuil Severe is the best sleep with a cold medicine. No tossing and turning, just rest and recovery. So you're ready to take on tomorrow. For powerful relief of your worst cold and flu symptoms, try NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, best sleep with a cold medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Hey Braves fans, thank you for listening to Braves Country Baseball. Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and we are here to bring you play-by-play, pitch-by-pitch of your Atlanta Braves and bringing you spring training and 2 to 3 games a week all season long. Please like and subscribe today. Braves Country Baseball.
Winter is the perfect time to start planning for your healthy, pest-free spring lawn with True Green, America's #1 lawn care company. True Green's science-based approach and local expertise will help give your lawn the year-round care it needs to be thick and weed-free. Go to truegreen.com. Just call 866-946-5956 or go to truegreen.com today and get a lawn to be proud of.
Hey, sports fans, it's Rod Peterson here, host of The Rod Peterson Show, inviting you to join us daily for 2 hours of Atlanta's funnest sports talk right here on WQEE. I say fun because it is. You've never heard a show like it because we make the listeners a part of the show. Every day between noon and 2 p.m. Eastern, you'll hear plenty of the best sports talk, including the latest on the Falcons, the Braves, and more. And who knows, you might even hear you. That's the Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon, right here on WQEE 99.1 FM.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Fridays, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
Hey, sports fans. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive Time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE 99.1 FM. You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.
Armchair.
10 years ago, a crack commando unit was sent to prison by a military court for a crime they didn't commit.
Armchair.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good afternoon, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. Heavy night of action on the hardwood, so we'll only go over the ones that matter. In the Southeastern Conference, #2, Tennessee at the Florida Gators. ESPN2, 7 Eastern, -5 Vols. The Georgia Bulldogs, 14-7 on the year, 4-4 in the SEC. They travel to #25 Auburn. Auburn is a 12-point favorite. LSU, 9 o'clock at Missouri. Mizzou, -10, 148 is the over-under. There's 3 games in the ACC. Pitt at North Carolina, Tar Heels, 8.5 favorites. Georgia Tech, the Yellow Jackets, are -2 at Louisville. And Florida State is getting 10 on the road at NC State. While #1 in the land, the Purdue Boilermakers, host Penn State. The Nittany Lions are getting 10 on the road. 135.5 is the number. #17 Providence at #16 Xavier. The X-Men -4. And at 8:30, Villanova travels to #14 Marquette. The Wildcats are getting 6 on the road. 145.5 is the over-under. The legendary Tom Brady has retired again. Here's a clip from his retirement announcement from Twitter. Again.
Good morning, guys. I'll get to the point right away. I'm retiring for good. I know the process was a pretty big deal last time, so when I woke up this morning, I figured I'd just press record and let you guys know first. So I won't be long-winded. You only get one super emotional retirement essay, and I used mine up last year. So really thank you guys so much, to every single one of you, for supporting me, my family, my friends, my teammates, my competitors. I could go on forever. There's too many. Thank you guys for allowing me to live my absolute dream. I wouldn't change a thing. Love you all.
If this is indeed adios to Tom Brady, he'll go down as the greatest NFL player of all time and by far the best quarterback. He'll leave the game with 7 Super Bowl rings, 6 in New England, 1 in Tampa, and 10 appearances in the Big Dance. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for Braves Country right here on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, simulcasting on youtube.com at Braves Country. You're listening to Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We're here live weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key, and simulcasting on youtube.com/at Braves Country. Your first choice for Southern sports. Good afternoon. I'm Mac McGee, and I don't know much, but I know one thing. We sure got hit with a lot of news in the last 24 hours. Also, we're kicking off Black History Month, and it's National Girls and Women's Day in Sports. Cannot wait for softball.
Armchair. Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Yeah, howdy, hi, and how the hell are you? Welcome to Braves Country, Armchair Quarterbacks Radio, coming to you live on WQEE and Braves Country HD, wherever you stream. Got a lot to get into and a little time to do it. Doug is on the way. Hawks are playing tonight. They have a late tip at 10 o'clock. If you're up that late, they are at the Suns. You've got the transfer portal coming to an end and news coming with that. You've got, what are we about? I want to say it's a little over, it's either this Wednesday or next Wednesday. The official signing day period is done. And of course, the big news of the day, Tom Brady retires. And Tom Brady retires. And Tom Brady retires. I feel like we've done this before. I feel like it was about this time last year. I think it was actually Super Bowl weekend that Tom Brady retired, and he was back in about 45 days. So we'll see if this one sticks. I am of the mindset, I got to see it to believe it, because I think he was battered, beaten, and worn playing for a bad Bucs team and for, frankly, not a very good head football coach. And he's proven that before when he was in New York with the Jets. So we'll see what happens with Todd Bowles and company. He'll basically be on the hot seat, and he's going to have to pull off a miracle to keep that job, because you got to figure at this point, they're not going to attract a big name free agent. I don't know if they would pull off the trade to be able to bring in Derek Carr. And I definitely don't think that the Packers would trade Aaron Rodgers to Tampa Bay. I feel like it's too new. It's only been a few years ago that the Packers knocked out the Bucs in the NFC Championship game. That one, and I honestly don't think that Aaron Rodgers I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to end up in the NFC. I think it's got to be AFC, and we'll get into that speculation later on down the road. But Tom Brady retiring-ish, and it's a big-ish, because the 49ers end of the season press conference is taking place today. And of course, they're not going to address any kind of rumors and whatnot. But let's call it how it is. The quarterback of their future, supposedly, it's either one or two options. It's either Trey Lance, who they traded up to get, that was a huge reach, and he's been a bust so far. Now, maybe they think that he's made these huge leaps and bounds, and they can go forward with him and Purdy. Purdy would probably have the starting job, but the Purdy injury puts him out until sometime in August at best case scenario. So, honestly, I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if Purdy's going to be able to be the starter, and it may not be fair, but it is what it is. As far as going into the regular season, you saw how rusty and out of place Joe Burrow was when he missed the first part of training camp, and he had seasoned under his belt, and heck, he just gone to the Super Bowl. But it took him a month and a half to really get going. So Brock Purdy, if he is indeed any kind of answer that they can go to long term, then my guess would be you got to have some kind of answer to start the season. And that's why I'm still putting it as a real possibility that in a few months we get news that Tom Brady comes out of retirement one more time and says, I couldn't help resist going home to San Francisco. I don't think there would be, maybe Vegas, but I've been saying this all along that I thought that San Francisco was a perfect landing spot. And now I think San Francisco might be the only way he comes out. Comes out one more time and says, psych. No. Gotcha again. If there's one team that can add Tom Brady and become an instant Super Bowl, not just contender, but favorite, it's the San Francisco 49ers. They're loaded at every other position. They're in the prime of a lot of their main positions. They really just need quarterback play. So either A, Tom Brady comes out of retirement and goes to San Francisco. He takes a few months off and goes, man, wife's not coming back. I'm bored. I only see the kids so often. Hanging out with Gronk's going to end me up in either prison or in an insane asylum. I got to come back. I get that he's got the backup plan, a very good backup plan, if you don't mind. 10 years, $375 million contract with Fox Sports the day he retires. But that does not mean diddly squat to Tom Brady, who already has the moon and stars. He knows that he can do that whenever he wants to. So, and he would slide right into the number one booth. I don't think that's necessarily fair to Greg Olsen, because Greg Olsen has said it. Someone asked Greg Olsen recently, what would it mean if Tom Brady came back? Because right now, Greg Olsen is going to call the Super Bowl. And that is the spot that Tom Brady would be in next year. Who knows? He might even jump in the booth this year. You never know. That might be the quickest way to get him back on the playing field. He goes into the booth and either A, he's a bust and he's terrible, or B, he says, I don't like this. It's been real and it's been fun, but it ain't been real fun. I'm going to go back and play football. I can't imagine him not enjoying it because he's very articulate. But playing for the 49ers is the one thing that I think could lure him out. It was his boyhood dream. He's from the Bay Area. He grew up idolizing Joe Montana, Steve Young. So I'm still not convinced. In fact, the 49ers press conference is going on right now. They're just, you're not missing anything. It's a lot of coach speak. I can read the headlines down below, and it's a bunch of what do you expect these reporters to ask at the end of the year when they're asking a coach and a general manager? So what direction do you think the team's going in? It's that same old, there's about 5 cliches being thrown out there. Well, we got to get back to work, and we're going to go to the grind and step by step. Or what was the one from Tennessee? Brick by brick. We're going to build this thing. I don't believe that team has any real holes, including the coaching staff, even with the departure of Ryans. They're going to be fine. Because it's really talent that wins you games. It's not, coaches can put you in great positions to win games in football, but it's still the talent that's going to win the game. I think the least important sport for a coach would be professional basketball. The most important is probably head football coach in the National Football League. And Shanahan is one of the best. And I can't help to pull for him at this point because of his time here in Atlanta, where he blew the 28-3 lead. He goes and finally gets in the Super Bowl as a head coach. And what happens? He blows a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter to the guy that everyone, to Mahomes, the guy that everyone's saying is the next Tom Brady. Then last year, they were banged, battered, and bruised, but they found a way to get to the NFC Championship game and lost a very competitive game to the Rams, who were playing out of this world. And then this year, they get all the way to the NFC Championship game with their third-string quarterback. You could make an argument their fourth, but their third-string quarterback. And then he gets hurt. Their fourth-string quarterback has to come in. He gets hurt. You got Purdy with one arm having to go back in just to hand the ball off, and essentially the game's over. So Shanahan has got to be beating his head against the wall. And the one guy that would put them over the top is the guy that goes to the post every single day, except for the 1 year where he got hit in the leg, and that changed all the rules in the National Football League of where you can hit the quarterback, right? Other than that, Tom Brady goes to the post every single day. And I really want to see him go to San Fran because I would love to see him as a guy who doesn't hate Brady, doesn't hate the Patriots, none of that stuff. None of that, I can't stand him. God, he's gone. If you're saying that, I'm sorry, but you're a loser. Stop it. Unless you're a Jets fan, you're a Dolphins fan, or you're a Bills fan that lived a nightmare for 16, 17, 18 years, or whatever it was, with him in the division, then that part I get. But anybody else who pulls against Brady, maybe the Falcons fan, but it's just sour taste in your mouth because of the Super Bowl loss. But your average fan, standing aside, it kills me when you run into like a Cowboys fan or a 49ers fan there that I hate Tom Brady. What do you hate about Tom Brady? What could you possibly hate? Other than jealousy, what could you possibly hate about Tom Brady? That man, if you're trying to point to one athlete and say he did it the right way, and someone you want to emulate, it's Tom Brady. He went to work every day. And even when he didn't have to or want to, he went out there and gave his best. He also continued to grind that he was unable to quench his thirst for more wins than anybody else. 7 world championships, 10 Super Bowl appearances. So anybody who doesn't like him, I'll never understand that unless it's a rival. I get it. I don't like a lot of athletes that people don't understand because they beat my favorite team. And I don't expect you to understand. That's different. But if you're a random Minnesota Viking fan, Detroit Lion fan, whatever, you name it, and you hate Tom Brady, you're just jealous. But the guy went to work every day. The guy was phenomenal and has been his entire career. And I don't know what it'll be like in the booth, but I can't imagine he's going to be a disappointment because he is going to be the guy that goes to the post every day. And I've never worked in television, but I'm just going to guess. Whatever hourly preparation that the top guys put in being ready for their one broadcast a week, Tom Brady's going to outwork them if it's something he really wants to do. If Tom Brady looks like that he's not very interested, not very good at television, then I guarantee you it's because he got in there and said, I made a mistake. And I don't know how to get out of this, but I'm not going 10 years. That's the only way. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to get Doug's reaction. And that shakes a lot of things up for Doug. He's a Raiders fan. What are the Raiders going to do? Because we were talking last week. We thought it was Bradyville. So we'll be back in a flash when we come back. Doug is with us, and joining us here in just a few minutes will be Justin. We'll be back in a flash here on Braves Country.
Now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ, lays it in. Right at 1 second left. What a play by Bird.
Here's good news. There's still a need for hundreds of thousands of cybersecurity professionals in the U.S. right now. And My Computer Career is training people to help meet the demand. No IT experience? No problem. Take the free career evaluation today. Start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. Grants covering up to 53% of the cost are available to those who qualify. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
ACC football covered like no other here on the Armchair Quarterbacks.
Out of the shotgun, third down and about 10. Ward getting some pressure, getting more, gets it away. He's got Fryer wide open. Touchdown, Florida State. That's what Ward will do to you.
Georgia Tech 45, Nebraska 21. It's now up to the voters. They look like the number one, don't they?
All right, 6 seconds to go. Maurer throws it up for grabs. There's 5 defenders back there. Game runs out. And Clemson wins the national championship of college football.
This is for the national championship for Nebraska.
And for Miami, an absolutely miracle year. The dream season as they come back from a bad loss opening day to go to 11 straight wins, and in all probability, when the votes are in, a first ever national championship for the Hurricane.
Take the scenic route in the new Hyundai Santa Fe, the family SUV with available H-Track all-wheel drive to help you travel way off the beaten path. Find new adventures together in Hyundai Santa Fe.
Welcome back to Braves Country. Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays, 3 to 5 p.m., drive time on WQEE.
Yo, you don't even know what stupid is. It's about to get all stupid up in here.
Unoriginal melody.
Why did John Lennon have to be the one to get shot? Something's wrong. While these douchebags are all still alive.
Welcome back as we welcome in Red Raider Doug, and we have not talked before the show, so I'm anxious to see what Doug's reaction is going to be of this shock. Not necessarily shocking, but the timing of it, I believe, is a little shocking news that Tom Brady is heading on and will be, I guess, retired for good this time. What say you, Doug?
Your guess is as good as mine. It's like you said, the timing is awkward. and I'm not surprised by it because I think it was last week he was on a podcast on Fox Sports 1, and he was asked a question on where he was going to play, and he got all upset and cursed out the host of that show about asking. I, almost had a temper tantrum about it. So the fact that he went ahead and just retired now, either he really is retiring or he just wants everybody to back off while he makes up his mind again.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, I said when I heard it this morning, had a conversation with a friend of mine, and the first thing, because he was wanting to know my opinion immediately, I said, "Yeah, I got to see it to believe it. I got to see that ball kicked off in week 1 of the 2023 NFL season, and Tom Brady being up in a booth and not down on the field with the chin strap tightened."
Yep. And as far as and when I first heard about it, I just sat there and go, "Wow, you just alienated Derek Carr for nothing, Raiders. You had this grand scheme of bringing in Tom Brady. Way to go! Way to go! Threw Derek Carr out for nothing."
I didn't even think about that. That is funny. Really funny. They, he's going to end up, let's say he doesn't play another down. I don't think we'll see in our lifetime someone will make try to make the comparison, because they do it with LeBron and Jordan, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we will never see in our lifetime a better quarterback, a better player in the National Football League. Not more decorated for sure. And I don't care if someone goes and breaks his records. It doesn't matter. The game's going to continue to evolve. If you think defensive rules are soft now, wait till 50 years from now when they have officially gone to two-hand touch or flags.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, in 50 years from now, the defense will have to count to 100 before they're allowed to move.
Exactly. We're not far from 7-on-7 football with flags and et cetera, but it doesn't matter what the numbers are. What he did in his era, the length that he did it, et cetera, and it kind of transcended one era to the other. He was at the beginning of his career. It was the tail end of what you would call, I'm going to refer to it as the golden era of football. I know there's some boomers out there that would probably argue with me, and fair enough, but I can't call something the golden era when I never saw it.
Right.
And I also can't call something the golden era of football when the forward pass was a rarity, right? So I'm going to say the golden era of football began around in the 1980s, and to me went all the way through into the mid 2000s, right? And now this is another era. There's nothing wrong with this era. It's still greatly entertaining, and it's great football and great athletes. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to compare the athletes. That would be silly. But what I am saying is Brady is a guy that played in both. And Brady is a guy that 100 years from now, when folks are sitting here having these same conversations, if they go back and someone tries to make an argument that Tom Brady couldn't play in today's game, there's going to be a guy that says that down the road. It may be when we're still around, and that might be the thing that kills me. But there's no way Tom Brady couldn't play in any form or fashion of era. You see these dumb kids that will post things. I'll use baseball as an example. I saw a kid the other day posting and saying that he thought that, or he wouldn't use it as a thought or an opinion. He was trying to state a fact that Babe Ruth couldn't play in today's game. Okay, at that point, you're showing how stupid you are, because if you put Babe Ruth into today's game, don't you think Babe Ruth would be given all the opportunities that everybody else is given to be able to have all the different things available to him, not just the health and fitness, the video, et cetera, et cetera. I think the better question would be, can a lot of guys in today's game, could you supplant them back into the 1920s? Would they make it? And everyone just assumes it because they're like, well, they're better athletes. I don't know. Because if I drop you back there in the 1920s, you're not going to have your iPad to look at every one of your at-bats. And when they took that away from J.D. Martinez, who's one of the better hitting right-handers in the game that we've seen over the last several years, when they took that away from him, what year was that? Was that 2020? It was right after the cheating scandal, right?
Right.
He fell off a cliff and he's never really recovered.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
No,
athletically, Mike Trout would easily supplant himself into center field in any era. I get that. But could Mike Trout function without going, well, dude, where's my iPad? Where's the video? So these guys were having, that's why you see in the old videos and you see the recollection of the great players and they'll talk about it at bat. And how in the heck do they remember this? They had to. They had no other choice. They didn't have video that they could go back to.
Yeah, if you look at the common denominator, like you were saying, if you look at the common denominator of players, let's say from the 20s, 30s, 40s, and you look at the Hall of Famers, always the one thing that comes out is their instinct for the game, their natural toned abilities to play the game.
And usually an incredible memory.
And yes. Nellie Fox. Because I remember the one time I met Nellie Fox before he passed away. He could recall entire game cycles in his head and talk about it. I asked him a question. I don't remember what my question was at the time. But I asked him, and he went into a litany of this person here, this is what it's done, this is what I did that day. He can tell you what the temperature on the field was on that particular day and remember it. So, yeah.
Exactly. I can recall many documentaries and interviews that I've seen of Hank Aaron, Willie Mays. They all have that in common. It's an incredible memory where most of us have a hard time remembering what we ate for breakfast this morning.
Exactly.
How in the world did you remember that player X threw a four-seam fastball on a 1-1 count to you in a random game in June 37 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
So but kind of got off the beaten track with that, as we tend to do. But
actually we did in a sense, because you talk about Tom Brady. I've always thought the one thing about Tom Brady, and I go back a little further, and I've always said about quarterbacks in the NFL, I can remember the mid-'70s. And kind of my starting line, if you look at Tom Brady as kind of the maturation of what a golden era quarterback was, you could see that maturation in others. And what I mean by that is, like, I remember Len Dawson being a great quarterback with Kansas City. Then you get the next kind of the next one, like you go to him, to Staubach, to Montana, and you go, and I've always felt the best compliment I can give Tom Brady is he is a culmination of everything from that era into the time they played. He is everything that all the other ones were, just in totality.
Very tough.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know if every quarterback in this era, as talented as they are and as great as they are, and you drop them back into the 1950s, the 1960s, the 70s, even the 80s, I don't know if they would be as fantastic as they look on film today, because there weren't the rules in place to keep you healthy. And one of the biggest things that you have to be a football player pre-2000, we'll just cut it off at, you had to be tough. You had to be tough. There was no concussion tents. There was not one single flag for a clothesline.
Yes. And if you want to go further back, just as a case of toughness of an athlete before Brady came along, just go back to 1956 with Y.A. Tittle playing with a shattered left leg in the championship game against Chicago. And even other defensive players not even in the heart to hit him anymore because they know they had broken him, but he refused to be sidelined in that game. Granted, again, it's 1956, and still leading his team down the field for another touchdown against that Bears defense with Buckus as the second-year linebacker, who said he didn't have a heart to hit him again and begged him to get off the field, and he wouldn't.
Yeah, it's not even been, you don't have to go back to 1956, 1979. What was his name? Fred Dreyer, the guy the defensive end that later became Hunter. No, I'm sorry, it was Youngblood. Played with the broken leg in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Yep, for the broken leg,
y'all. And this is it. And you can go back and check this. This isn't like, oh, he had a hairline fracture. No. He had a leg that was tied up with basically tape and bubble gum. They said, we'll put a cast on it later. And Ronnie Lott cut his finger off.
Yep.
What was that, 83? Because he wanted to win a Super Bowl that bad.
Yep.
They gave him the option. Cut your finger off, which no one thought he was going to choose, or we need to go ahead and shut it down and have surgery because you can't continue to play with this. It's going to get worse. And he didn't blink. He said, chop it off. And they said, no, you don't understand. We're talking about taking one of your fingers off. He says, I got 9 others. Let's go. And I remember later on hearing him say, someone asked him, did you ever think about regretting that? He said, the only way I would have ever regretted that is if I'd won 10 Super Bowls and didn't have somewhere to put that last ring. Like, Ronnie Lott, baby. These wide receivers and running backs today could not have played mentally an entire season if you just dropped them in to the middle of a season in the 80s where guys like Atwater and Lott, or even in the 90s and beyond with John Lynch, that hasn't been that long ago.
Mm-hmm. I'll give one guy one credit. There's one modern player I think you could take him back in time, and I think he'd be all right, and that's Christian McCaffrey. He's got a level of toughness to him in the way he plays.
There's a lot of players that could. There's a lot of players, but most of the players would not.
No, most would not.
You drop him in there, you'd have to get tough, and oh, by the way, you're doing all this for a lot less money. And for everyone that says, oh, look how great they're in shape, guess what? Joe Blow, no matter who the athlete is, you pick him, who played football or baseball, or basketball for that matter, or hockey 50 years ago, 60 years ago. Not only did they play in tougher conditions, but they didn't have an off season, because when they got off from we'll just say a football player whose season ends, they went to go work in the coal mines or wherever it was to make ends meet. Playing in the NFL, playing Major League Baseball, that was a way to make money, and pretty decent money, but it wasn't life-changing money. So during the offseason, they couldn't waste 3, 4, 5 months, I guess in football's case, 6 months in between seasons, and say, so that's why, when people say, man, these guys were much slower, of course they were. Because they were working in the coal mines, chopping wood.
Look, you could see that in players even into the 70s. Like you mentioned Fred Dreyer. When he wasn't playing football, he was out trying to get TV commercials to become a TV star, which he eventually did. But he was doing commercials, and he was doing grade B action films after the season. He'd get gigs in playing tough guys, and like I said, grade B shoot 'em up films and stuff. Others were teachers and stuff, all kinds of things like that. And that's even into the 80s.
In the case of Dreyer and guys that went Hollywood, that was for the money and the fame. But I'm talking about the guys who had to go out there and work hard labor from 9 to 5, so to speak.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Because look, if you're one of the guys that got to go out there and do commercials, right, then you had downtime to keep yourself in shape, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the guy who's getting off work from the coal mine, I mean, not only are his lungs getting trashed, but he gets off work. Well, his coworkers want to go have a beer with him, and you do enough of those in a row, and that's not exactly going to put yourself into NFL football shape, right? So it was just people used to, back when you talked about baseball, spring training, and NFL summer camps, that used to be where you would go to get into shape. Now, because of the money, you had better be in shape, very good shape, or there's going to be an issue. Not only are you going to get called out for it, it's probably going to be all over social media. You're probably going to have to answer questions.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a different era. But I guess what I was trying to get at, there's going to be an idiot that's going to say Tom Brady couldn't play in today's game. No. Yes, he could. Because as this game continues to get softer and softer defensively, heck, Tom Brady might roll out of bed at age 55 and come back and play.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you get to the point where it's just flag football, which we're not that far from it, especially for the quarterback position, his numbers will get dwarfed by someone who can play not just longer and into age 45, because I don't think a lot of guys are going to want to do that, because what is the point? You will have made $1 gazillion. But then the other thing is their yards per season is going to average higher. It's just like, it's just like when when Drew Brees and all of them started breaking Dan Marino's records. These numbers are always broken because the game changes, and we've yet to see the game change from the league office of them having saying there's too much scoring going on, too much excitement. We need to slow it down. We want a 12-10 Super Bowl. That's never going to happen again.
Nope.
So they're going to continue to build that. That's why everyone complains about the Rams Patriots Super Bowl, the last one he won in New England.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, I want to say the score was 13-6, 13-10, whatever it was. It was low scoring because it was so out of character for the NFL. So
yeah.
I still got to see it to believe it. I don't think he's retired.
We
did this last year. We started burying him, saying, all right, well, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? And we didn't even get to free agency. He said, I'm back. We might have to wait a little longer this year. I still think by sometime in the summer, he's going to say, let's ride. Wait till the first report comes out that Brock Purdy's surgery or rehab is going slowly. There's going to be a phone buzzing, and it's going to be Shanahan and Lynch on the other end for Brady and say, come on, let's go. All you really have to do is hand the ball off to Ren CMC or Debo, and every once in a while chuck it forward. The guy still has an arm. He still has the best and quickest release in football. And so to me, still the most accurate. I mean, it's almost like watching a video game. We got to take a quick break. When we come back, we got more. We got the Broncos. What are the Raiders going to do? All that and a lot more. We'll be back in a flash here on Braves Country HD.
Bro, Blake, play for the love of the game, man. What's wrong with you, bro? Money should not be a thing. Bro, I'm risking my life. What do you mean it should not be a thing? It 100% should be a thing. And if I get the Rona, on top of that, if I get the Rona, guess what happens with that? The damage that was done to my body, that's going to be there forever. No, I got to get my money. I'm not playing unless I get mine. More Twitch streams for us, that's facts.
Armchair.
The Dixie Handle Company, 5 generations of the Strickland family have produced quality hardwood farm and garden tools, wooden shutters, and custom furniture. This small business has been owned and operated since 1992 and ships to customers across the world. If you're looking for the highest quality tool handles, Dixie Handle Company is your place. Every item is hand-picked to your specifications. If it's made of wood, they do it. Call now, 931-722-3395. That's 931-722-3395. Or go online to dixiehandle.com. The Dixie Handle Company. Welcome to Craftsmanship, a proud sponsor of Braves Country Baseball.
How to improve your dining room by the Home Depot. New wood floors, new paint on the walls. Sure, you know us for that. But how about a new dining room table, matching chairs, bar stools? How about free and flexible delivery with easy online returns? Now you can explore decor in a whole new way. Save now on furniture. Everything for your home. Everything from HomeDepot.com. How doers get more done. Limitations apply.
Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern, 99.1 FM The Key, your first choice for Southern sports talk.
Hey, does any of y'all know when the employee Christmas party is for the self-checkout at Walmart?
Welcome back. Have you done much fantasy baseball yet? Doug, you there?
Yeah.
Have you done much fantasy baseball yet? Did you nod off?
No. I've worked on a few drafts so far. I'm putting together a cheat sheets this year, so I've been digging into the numbers.
I'm sure you saw the I'm gonna go ahead and share this real quick so folks can see it at home. The announcement that Yahoo Fantasy's back, so I opened up the drafts, and I think those will be the time of the drafts, but I haven't 100% figured it out. But essentially late March, we're going to do one here on Braves Country HD. Probably not going to do it on the live radio show because it's 3 to 5. So we may have to just do it in the evening on the Braves Country HD YouTube channel. But which is fine. I don't see being able to get everyone together at 3 p.m. Eastern in the middle of the week. But that'll be the trophy show, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to get this out here so you can see what I'm doing here. So this is Underdog, right?
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if you can see that well enough. The problem is if I close it up like that, I don't think you can see it hardly at all.
No, you can't. You can't. Even with my glasses on, I can't see it. But
I'll tell you what, I'm going to just try to expand it like that, and you can probably see, the first few rounds how it went.
Right.
And so this is a 12 team, and it's a snaking draft. It's best ball.
Mm-hmm.
So you do 3 outfielders, 3 infielders, 3 pitchers, 1 flex, which is a flex batter. And then you get a 10-man bench. And like all best ball, you just do the draft and you're done.
Right.
And this is a tournament I'm in. So it came down to me. I had the number 8th pick. Acuna went bye-bye quickly. As soon as I saw his number 8, I was like, I'm never going to get Acuna. It's not going to happen. And so I grabbed Turner on the turn, coming back to me at number 17, Austin Riley. And then it went up and came down at number 32. I thought Spencer Strider was a bit of a steal.
I thought so too. Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
And then it comes back around to me. So the only thing that I'm not familiar with, because I haven't done the best ball baseball ones enough, is in some of these there's strategy. And the strategy sometimes is, well, you just go after batters, you just go after pitchers, et cetera, and you punt the other. So this is my first real one of doing it this way. I got one that I got auto drafted because I signed up wrong. I think I've already told the story. So I don't even have any way to base that off of. All I know is that the computer drafted nothing but a bunch of batters for me, and I have barely any pitching. What happens if I get injuries? Like, I'm screwed. But it came back to me, and then I took Nolan Arenado from the Cardinals. That it was at pick number 41. I thought that was decent. And then when it came back down to me 15 picks later at 56, I had to get an outfielder. And as you can see, the pickings were slim. The outfielder that went before him was Teoscar Hernandez. And then when it came back around to me I believe at the time it was either Jimenez, Brandon Nemo, or I want to say the other guy that I was thinking about was maybe even Chris Bryant. But I decided to roll the dice and take Jimenez. And I still need an outfielder, but my theory was if it comes back to me and one of those other outfielders are there, I'll go for them. Well, these guys went on a little bit of a pitcher run, and then it fell to me again, and I got Max Fried. And I'm like, well, you can't hate that. And then Zach Gallen and Dalton Varsho, as you can see, I'm still waiting for this. So we're through 100 picks in this draft, and that's where you're at. But now you're at the point where, because it's a 12-man draft and it's a tournament style, there's going to be guys taking big risks, throwing things against the wall because there's big money prize to do it in. If you had the number one pick overall in this, considering what I just laid out for you, would you go Aaron Judge, or is there someone else that you would lean on?
If I just had the first pick,
yeah. And you know you're not going to pick again for almost 24 picks.
24 picks. Considering what's going on this year, I'm still in the trade. I'm still in the Trey Turner numbers are going to be a lot larger. So right off the top of my head right now, I would take Trey Turner because he's valuable.
I like that because I got him at number 8.
Yeah.
And what it came down to, I thought about Vladimir Guerrero Jr., but the stolen base and the fact that he's going to Philly. Really.
And the fact that his steal numbers will go up. And I think his heading has improved year by year by year. So you're talking about somebody who's going to give you a lot of production.
I really wanted Michael Harris, but I had to make a choice, and Riley was ranked higher. And I get it. It's so hard.
I was just gonna say that's interesting because my instinct would have been to take Riley first over Harris.
Well, I did, but I was hoping Harris would somehow fall.
Yeah.
But he did not. And you start seeing this, especially when you're a 12-man league, you start realizing how the game has changed in Major League Baseball across the board.
Mm-hmm.
There tends to be bigger and better bats in the infield now at all the positions combined than what you get in the outfield.
Yes.
And used to, when we were growing up, and I'd say even 15 years ago, 20 years ago, a lot of your power hitters were outfielders. And yeah, you had the big boppers at first base, right?
Oh, yeah.
But when you think of like the height of the home run, I mean, it was Griffey, it was Bonds, it was Sosa. And this isn't a steroid debate. I'm talking about the actual, the numbers on the field. Yeah, there was a McGuire here and there, but all in all, you would go after infielders early on because you knew that they were so scarce. There was not a lot of power at third base, right?
No, not at all.
Jones was an anomaly. He basically came around as everyone started, looking around going, where did you go, Michael Jack Schmidt? And Chipper Jones came around and kind of brought a new power to the third base position. And he's the last of the old guard at that position. Nowadays, if you're not being able to hit around 30 home runs, you're probably not going to get a starting gig somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Harris is but when you start doing this and you're a 12-man league, you're like, you can't get every Brave. It's absolutely impossible.
Oh yeah. I mean,
and I was shocked that Strider, considering his strikeouts, was drafted after Aaron Nola. Who was the other one? I can't see this because it's of the way it anyways, there was a couple others, I believe, because I don't think this is the entire screen. I think, yeah. Okay, here we go. Spencer Strider, to me, has more upside than even Garrett Cole. Right?
Yeah.
Because Garrett Cole, I don't think here's a couple of the other guys. I don't think Garrett Cole, considering the fact that he plays in the AL East, I'd rather have Spencer Strider all day long.
I would too. I'd even go. I was just gonna say I would reach for Kyle Wright as well.
Yeah, the only problem about Kyle Wright is that his strikeout numbers aren't expected to be as high as they were last year because there's a lot of metrics.
Mm-hmm.
But I would take, me being a Braves fan, I would take the risk. But if a level-headed fan, has he not been drafted yet? I had him in my queue. I don't know if he's been drafted yet. He may not have been drafted yet. Let me see. I can look at my queue here in a second. But anyways, I'll go ahead and stop sharing that because that's a lot to try to process. But we will do a live draft. It's the ring, we've always called it the trophy draft, but now we've gone to championship rings, which there will be a ring ceremony here at the Super Bowl party for Doug. And I can't wait to do that because we got to wait till we got to do it. We got to wait till Will gets there. That's the whole reason for it.
That's going to be a show within itself with him there.
Because I thought about just, handing it to you. I was like, no. There's got to be a ring ceremony because I want Will to be like, what? This is ridiculous.
Why don't I get one? Why isn't there one in everyone?
Exactly.
That's collusion. I don't like that.
But the baseball draft, we'll probably do it, and it's really not good radio anyways, because you sit there and there's a lot of, it's really more for YouTube because you can see the screen and there's a lot of guys sitting there trying to make picks. And I'm so over trying to host it like a real show because then I get sidetracked,
Yeah.
So, especially now that we have this new platform, the new application that really makes it look much better. We'll be able to do stuff like this. Now, I had our faces on the screen because we're doing the show, but when you really want to get this thing presented correctly and you go in, I'll show you what can be done. I believe you can do it on this too. So let me see if I can mess with this. If you hit there you go. And you can do that, and then it puts the entire screen up there, and they don't have to see our ugly mugs. Huh?
Nah,
I like gas. I never knew which one I'm supposed to use because some of them, the icons are strange, and they don't really do. All right, let me get off that. But I noticed that the other day. I was like, man, I could get my ugly face off this screen altogether. That is awesome. Because I'll be using this for the baseball play-by-play soon, and I was like, man, I do not want I don't even want my profile picture up there while I'm doing this. Nobody cares about that. All they want to see is the score. Doug, Raiders. I got sidetracked talking baseball. I'm so ready for baseball season.
I don't blame you. I am
too. Out there who's all wrapped up in football, but man, baseball clock is ticking in my head.
Mine as well.
And I have successfully gotten myself down to under 20 fantasy baseball leagues this year. I'm very proud of that.
Very good.
I believe there's only 2 with us, all the guys. But I have, I think it was 23 last year, 24 or somewhere in that neighborhood. In football, I am getting that thing way down this year. I'm so tired of chasing people around. You know what I have to go through. Come on, man, pay your dues. Pay your dues, man. Come on, man. And this goes on for months and months. And then someone will say, how come someone says it paid dues? Because I got tired of sending them text. And they're just like, whatever, man. Well, and then, I mean, one guy acted like that he had gone into the witness protection program with the FBI. I called him 6 times, sent 4 texts. He finally shoots me a text one morning and goes, what's your Venmo? I'm just like, it's not $1,000. I'm not asking you to, for your mortgage payment. These leagues are anywhere between $20 to $50, and it's 5 to 6 months of entertainment. I was like, ugh. Anyways, with no Tom Brady now, where are the Raiders going?
Well, they've got one of 3 ways I figure they'll go. Either they go pursue and pay for knucklehead from Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers. They maybe get Garofalo, or they just do it through the draft. Let Jared Stidham be the starter, and in the draft they just move up and try maybe get a CJ Stroud or whatever.
Do you know?
I'm sorry?
What draft pick? Raiders draft pick.
Oh, they've got the number 7 pick right now.
Oh, they've got the 7th. Okay, I thought they were a little further down.
No, they got number 7.
Honestly, that's gettable. I don't think you have to do a whole lot trade up to the number 1 pick. I really don't. Because I don't think a lot of teams think that they're going to. They can catch teams flat-footed.
True.
And send a deal to the Bears, who don't need a quarterback realistically, and say, hey, we swap first-round picks, and then I give you a 2nd or a 3rd or whatever, right?
Exactly.
And then you got your quarterback, whoever you like. Now, the only way that falls apart is if they get to the combine and then they start doing the research, and McDaniels and company are like, I don't like any of these quarterbacks enough to draft them in the first round. Then that's a problem, and then you're going to have to go. You can't bring Carr back. He's already done all his little farewell tour. So you got to Jimmy G, I don't know. If Aaron Rodgers thing falls apart, I still feel like Aaron Rodgers headed to the Jets. What is your walk-off? Got about 15 seconds.
15 seconds. I just think that Mark Davis should buy himself a bouquet of flowers and go over to Derek Carr's house and just tell him, I'm sorry. Would you come back? I was wrong.
I was just funning, right? We cool, right?
I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
All right, brother. I'll see you next Wednesday. And
all right.
Have a great rest of your day.
You too. See ya.
You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.
Armchair. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good afternoon, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. Heavy night of action on the hardwood, so we'll only go over the ones that matter. In the Southeastern Conference, number 2, Tennessee at the Florida Gators. ESPN2, 7 Eastern, -5 Vols. The Georgia Bulldogs, 14-7 on the year, 4-4 in the SEC. They travel to number 25 Auburn. Auburn is a 12-point favorite. LSU, 9 o'clock at Missouri. Mizzou, -10, 148 is the over-under. There's 3 games in the ACC. Pitt at North Carolina, Tar Heels, 8.5 favorites. Georgia Tech, the Yellow Jackets, are -2 at Louisville. And Florida State is getting 10 on the road at NC State. While number 1 in the land, the Purdue Boilermakers, host Penn State. The Nittany Lions are getting 10 on the road. 135.5 is the number. Number 17, Providence at number 16, Xavier. The X-Men, -4. And at 8:30, Villanova travels to number 14 Marquette. The Wildcats are getting 6 on the road. 145.5 is the over-under. The legendary Tom Brady has retired again. Here's a clip from his retirement announcement from Twitter again.
Good morning, guys. I'll get to the point right away. I'm retiring for good. I know the process was a pretty big deal last time, so when I woke up this morning, I figured I'd just press record and let you guys know first. So I won't be long-winded. You only get one super emotional retirement essay, and I used mine up last year. So really thank you guys so much, to every single one of you, for supporting me, my family, my friends, my teammates, my competitors. I could go on forever. There's too many. Thank you guys for allowing me to live my absolute dream. I wouldn't change a thing. Love you all.
If this is indeed adios to Tom Brady, he'll go down as the greatest NFL player of all time and by far the best quarterback. He'll leave the game with 7 Super Bowl rings, 6 in New England, 1 in Tampa, and 10 appearances in the Big Dance. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for Braves Country right here on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, simulcasting on youtube.com at Braves Country.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
Dixie Handle Company, 5 generations of the Strickland family have produced quality hardwood farm and garden tools, wooden shutters, and custom furniture. This small business has been owned and operated since 1992 and ships to customers across the world. If you're looking for the highest quality tool handles, Dixie Handle Company is your place. Every item is hand-picked to your specifications. If it's made of wood, they do it. Call now, 931-722-3395. That's 931-722-3395. Or go online to dixiehandle.com. The Dixie Handle Company. Welcome to Craftsmanship, a proud sponsor of Braves Country Baseball.
Armchair.
10 years ago, a crack commando unit was sent to prison by a military court for a crime they didn't commit. These men promptly escaped from maximum security stockade. Today, still wanted by the government, they survive as soldiers of fortune. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire
Braves Country, WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key, and simulcasting on youtube.com/at Braves Country. Good afternoon, Mr. Justin Waller.
Good afternoon, and I don't know much, but I know one thing. Thank you, Tom Brady, for not being dramatic this retirement. Kudos and deuces to the GOAT.
You're in Braves Country.
Welcome back. Braves Country, taking you all the way to the 5 o'clock hour where First Name Sports on Sports Map Radio will take over. Make sure to get your days started right here on The Key. Ryan O Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. weekdays. Then you got the Rod Peterson Show, noon to 2, talking hockey and more. And Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge, 2 to 3. And then we come back your way 3 to 5. Justin, how the hell are you, my friend?
Doing good, Mac. Pitchers and catchers should be reporting in a couple weeks, and that's all I got to look forward to. Super Bowl's too far away, and nothing interests me this weekend.
You may not have seen it because you might have been asleep at the wheel like I was. I just realized it. First of all, I forgot today was Wednesday. That was the other thing. I couldn't remember if it was, for some reason, it was Tuesday in my head. So I was going to check to see, is National Signing Day tomorrow or is it next Wednesday? It's today. So National Signing Day is actually today. They typically didn't do it on the 1st. Normally we get punted. But anyways, it is today. I've seen some updates. It's kind of fallen flat because the real signing day to me now happens right around Christmas. It's the Wednesday before Christmas, I believe is how they have it set up. And there's a window of like 48 or 72 hours, whatever it is that they decided on. And then today is the actual signing day. But the highest guy that wasn't claimed was the number 31 prospect overall wide receiver. I forget, Rashada, I believe is how you pronounce his name. And he went to Arizona State. But other than that, most of your teams have already kind of gotten the guys that they want because your better players don't want to wait around because they're like, dude, if I wait around too long, they're not going to have scholarships left. So, but today is officially National Signing Day, and there are some kids that are doing. Of course, you know how fans are. It's nothing really happening, man. It's not a big deal unless your school gets a commitment and he could be a 3-star, number 322 overall. You're like, yeah, baby, let's rock and roll. We really needed that punter. Let's go.
Yeah, I think Brady stole the thunder today, but that early on signing day has really just made this one an afterthought. And
yeah, like you're exactly right. That's the other thing that got me sidetracked is normally I get up and check the sports news in the morning, and I had a meeting this morning that I had to leave the house to go to. Usually most of my stuff is done here in the studio. So I was getting the dogs together and everything like that. And I had the morning sports talk on, and I hear Brady retiring. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This day of all days. So that just absolutely threw me off. And then when I got back from the meeting, I was like, I haven't even sent Justin or Doug a show sheet yet. So I had to quickly come up with, what was going on. And I just said, Brady, Payton's a moron and decided to take the Denver job over other ones that didn't have Russell Wilson. And let's go. And I never even opened up there's a couple of pages that I normally open up to see what's trending in the world of sports. Never even open it up. Didn't even think about National Signing Day. And I even saw that College Football Live was on live earlier for like an hour on ESPN. I was like, why are they doing College Football Live today? I flipped it over, wasn't paying attention. I was like, did someone retire? What's going on? Did Brady say, I'm coming back, baby?
He's got a year in eligibility left in college.
I'm not going to go play for the Raiders. I can make more money with an NIL deal. Let's go. So sliding into home plate today. And right in front of me, is this ESPN Tuesday? They've had Senior Bowl practice on all day, and I've been not really watching it. But you know how your eyes can't help but you can't help but just kind of look and see. Go, what am I watching over here? Yeah, Senior Bowl practice. I don't know how. Normally that kind of stuff comes on the NFL Network, but maybe they don't have the rights to it. I don't know. But anyway, Senior Bowl practice been on. And I keep seeing familiar helmets. I saw a University of Tennessee helmet. I don't know who these guys are because it's a monitor way off in the distance. But what I was going to say that you ought to be excited about, you may not be aware of it because it's the way life works. The Vols are in the swamp tonight, round ball. 7 o'clock or 9 o'clock. It's on one of the main networks. The other thing, do you still have YouTube TV?
No, sir. I have swapped to a competitor.
Which one?
It's 4 letters.
ESPN?
No. Hulu.
Okay.
I went with their live TV. I had to sacrifice the NHL network, but just various reasons.
That way, do they have the MLB network?
They do.
YouTube TV lost it yesterday. I don't know. It must have been mid-afternoon. Because I get a text from a buddy. I was like, well, when's this supposed to go down? He goes, it just did. I just got an email. I was like, what? I was just watching High Heat on rerun. What are we talking about? Flip over there and how you go to the guide, it would disappear.
Well, I've gotten no emails yet saying differently. So
Oh, I think this was.
But you still have the same constraints with no Bally Sports and no option yet. And could you please come on with the a la carte model that we keep hearing about? We had the limited test in markets, and hey, if it didn't work well, then test it in a market where you've got people that are saying that they want to pay for it. And
here's the thing: supposedly, what drove a wedge in between YouTube / Google and MLB is that MLB Network is no longer going to carry ball games, that it's all going to be on MLB.TV. Now, that I didn't care about one way or the other, because I watch most of my games on MLB.TV anyways. Because if you got YouTube TV, what you know is, unless you want to pay the extra $20 a month that I do during football season, but I don't do it during any other season, you can only have 3 devices going at once in your house, right? And you can only have one outside of your house. So you can't even play the game of, hey, I'll split the thing with my buddy, because they've already got you figured out on that one, right? So I would pay the extra so that I could have several different ball games going on at once, because I was not going to be constrained with, I can only watch this football game and this baseball game in the middle of October. I was like, no. But I get rid of it afterwards, and during baseball season, I watch all my stuff on MLB.TV. It's not even worth going to try to find this game on local or national coverage. Let me just go to the broadcast. But they're saying that they're getting rid of all broadcasts on MLB Network, and it's going to go to MLB.TV. And I guess they're just going to do shows on network. So maybe what you're talking about could be hitting in the very near future.
Well, I hope they do. And I hope if MLB TV is going to have the rights to all of it, then sell it to us. Quit blacking out the great state of Tennessee from 3 of the biggest markets. And I mean, it's just a conundrum here. And it's almost like they know who you pull for, and they make sure you get the 2 opposing games to watch. And, everybody here in this market is either a Cardinals fan, a Reds fan, or yours truly, the Atlanta Braves. And
do all 3 teams get blacked out there?
Yes, you will rotate in between. 2 of them will be blacked out, and you will get one of the 3. And it's usually, for me, never Cardinals or Braves. I usually pick up Reds, and I think it's just where location in Nashville you are. I would assume that's what dictates it.
Wow. You would think that would be more consistent.
You would think you wouldn't be in the market of Atlanta and living 30 minutes from Nashville, but
I don't have that issue, but I do have the issue of that one's a little more insane because they're on the National League. There's no way for me to. I'm right here on the border of Southern Georgia, Northern Florida, right? There's no way for me to watch Atlanta play any of the Florida teams, unless I do some funny stuff, which I normally do. but you get my drift. Legally, I'd like to be able to just pay for it and be done with it, right? Let's get it over with. Instead, I have to go play funny stuff, and there's been Facebook groups that have it, but man, someone always dimes them out, and they just they can't get the game. I mean, and then you got to do the VPN, and sometimes that gets blocked, and sometimes I have to go to this random site that I have a special computer for, because I'm always afraid that there might be, I don't know if Putin's behind that site or whatever, but I've got this random Chromebook that has nothing on it. I call it my dirty book, and my wife was like, "What?" I was like, I gotta go open my dirty book. I was like, it's got nothing to do with what you would think of. I was like, that thing is so I can watch the Tennessee Titans, I can watch the Falcons, I can watch the Braves. It's only because
I'm proud of you. I really am.
I don't even know what in the world these sites are, because if they send you directly to a YouTube channel, it's getting shut down immediately. If there's any video on a YouTube channel of a guy hitting a ball or catching a ball or tackling a ball or a puck or whatever, it takes one person to go, this isn't right, and it's getting pulled down. So I have to go to these. I don't even know what they are, man. They're just bunch of .x's and like I'm not even at .com. Like what am I at?
You should probably clear your search history. That's all I'm gonna suggest.
Well, I mean, I just got that. I just got that one book, and I just opened it up. A little Chromebook. It's about the size of, I don't know. It's basically the size of an iPad, and that's all I use it for, is to be able to see baseball and football games, and even some basketball games. I realized I didn't even think of it for whatever reason, but I noticed, I was like, dude, I could get the freaking Celtics on here. Now, normally I don't open it up, because if the Celtics aren't playing a big game in the middle of January, February.
You would think if it's that easy for you to get your VPN subscription, which they're affordable for an annual subscription for what you do with it and the privacy. Why, if you know, as MLB does, that this is easily doable, don't you just upcharge $90 and stop it from happening? I mean, just give you a price that you can just legitimately unlock all games and just pay for it.
It's the same thing with the NFL. So you don't go through it because you live in Tennessee and you're a Titans fan, right? But it's the same thing with the NFL. Now, this year's different. This year's going to be different because YouTube TV, and that's the kicker. Do you get rid of YouTube TV because they're finally going to have the NFL Network, or do you just suck it up and go, I guess I just won't have MLB Network? I mean, it really doesn't matter, because they've only got one or two shows that I absolutely love. The rest of them are,
Aside from Russo, is there anything you can't live without?
I really like their morning show. If I'm off and I'm able to watch it, it's called MLB Central. Mark DeRosa's on there, and he's phenomenal. He's so funny. Like, you don't go to DeRosa to get breakdowns. You get DeRosa to get yourself a cup of coffee and go, make me laugh. This is funny. And then his sidekick, I can't remember his name, Robert Flores, Roflo, as they call him. He is hilarious. He is one of those guys that is like straight man hilarious, and sometimes you don't catch it, and you have to rewind. What did he just say? And you rewind and go, good God, he's funny. And the lady that's on there too, she's really good. I think she's more famous for her sideline reporting, but she's really good. Lauren Shahadi. But anyways, it's just a really good show, because it's a morning wake up show, and they do. I think it used to be 3 hours. Now it's 4 hours, but it's essentially 2 hours of content that they just they rerun. But the point is, it's good if you're a baseball fan, because if you're a baseball fan, there's no other way to get that, because you're not turning over to ESPN and getting a breakdown of how are the Royals on a hot streak.
You're going to get web jams, and that's about it.
Me? They're still going to be talking about Tom Brady. I haven't watched the show in months, but when what's his name, Mike Greenberg on I don't even know if he's still on the show now that I think about it. When it's on from time to time, I don't see him. What is his show's called? Not First Take, it's the other one that comes. Get Up. He consistently said something 3 times in a row when I watched it, and I just turned it off and just never listened to it again, is that he admitted that he tries to find ways to make Brady and Rodgers a part of the conversation every day. And I noticed it, and I've complained about it, but I was hoping it wasn't like a thing he was trying to do. And once I realized, I was like, man, I do not care about this. I just do not want to hear the constant reminders of, especially during the off season, which it was when I was listening to it. And I would have it on mute, and I'd have something else on, Justin. I wouldn't see one baseball take the entire week. I'm like, why am I even out having this? So typically what I do now is I just put it on that CBS Sports HQ, that, the app that's by itself for free that you don't need anything for. I'll have that playing, and then I'll watch something. But I'm going to miss Russo's show, but he's got a radio show, and I'm going to miss MLB Central. I'm hoping you can just listen to it on radio, on the Sirius or something. I don't remember what it was.
I hope we still get all teams during spring training. I actually enjoy that, rotating around.
Well, yeah, but if you've got the MLB package, you get that anyways. Now, I do like the fact that on MLB Network, you don't have to think about it. They just put a game in front of you, right? Yep. So you don't go searching. Because unfortunately, with spring training baseball, you don't get every game televised for the Braves or whoever your favorite team is. There are some teams that you say, man, they are down there to work. Like you'll see the Mets and the Yankees, and they are down there. If they do 6 games that week, at least 5 of them are being televised. But the Braves are like, they announced it the other day. It was like, we're going to do about 8. You're going to play 30. We're going to do about 8 or 9. Like 2 of them are split squad games. I'm like, well,
we already got our arms on a pitch count.
Exactly. I would be shocked if they come back and say, we told you we're going to do 8 or 9. We're going to do about 2 because we don't even know who our broadcast team is going to be right now. Right?
That's probably where the starters will be. They'll just have them in the booth.
Yeah. Well, what they ought to do is like some of these college basketball games I've been watching because this jockey that gets you betting on freaking random teams that might as well, they're basically just elevated high school teams, and you flip over a channel and like, dude, that camera has not moved. It is a phone sitting on one of them little hoobie tents, and it's back far enough where it can see the entire game, and you can see the smoke cloud coming out from behind it where the guy who's running the whole thing is just, toking away. I'm a cameraman, check me out. I'm like, my God. God forbid you turn the volume on, you're going to get the most cracky, just type of audio that you've ever heard. I had one the other day, and I was like, man, I had the television volume on like 3 or 4, and it sounded so distorted, like I had it on blast, and it was coming out of a speaker, but not a normal speaker, a speaker that comes around, I don't know, that you might have bought at Radio Shack back in 1987. It was terrible. I was like, man, at this point, like, you ought to just not even do audio. You ought to just tell them there's audio difficulty, slap that on the screen somewhere and save yourself. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to, let's talk about Rodgers. Let's talk about Brady. We'll be back in a flash here on Braves Country and Braves Country HD, wherever you stream.
Are you okay, pal?
I had a rough day on the job.
Are you going home now?
I was about to.
Well then, you just fulfilled the first rule of law enforcement. Make sure when your shift is over, you go home alive.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neal, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
Make contact. A collective psychosis is sweeping the nation. We're in the thick of the haze craze, and Elysian is introducing an altered state of IPA. Contact Haze is a tangled chemistry of mild haze, low bitterness, and an explosion of hop aroma. This hazy IPA bursts with notes of bright raspberry, currant, citrus, guava, and passion fruit. Available in 6-pack cans in stores. Make contact.
If we actually enjoyed our New Year's resolutions, we'd all have 6-packs, money in our saving accounts, and we'd know how to play the piano. I have to tell you about the one resolution I actually enjoy. It's Built Bar. It's delicious. Oh, yeah, it's healthy, too. They're low-cal, low-sugar, high-protein, high-fiber, great for the keto diet. Lose or maintain weight while indulging. Visit BuiltBar.com.
Braves Country, weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern, 99.1 FM The Key, your first choice for Southern sports talk.
Hey, folks, this is Mark White with The Mark White Show, and you can tune into The Mark White Show every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. right here on Rock 99 WQEE The Key, the home of Southern sports and talk.
You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM The Key, home of Braves Country, weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, right here on The Key and YouTube.com at Braves Country.
Bones of dinosaurs and everything else, but we haven't found bones that I've heard of Bigfoot.
Well, if you stand and block the screen, you may just lose your life. And that goes for all 30 friends and 30 friends' wives. Cause he's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Welcome back. If you did miss it, Georgia. Oh, never mind. This is a 2024 commitment that they're 2024 Ellis Robinson cornerback has committed to Georgia. Never mind. I hate those more than anything else, Justin. I don't know about you, but the updates that you get in the middle of a signing day or signing day period, and they're giving you updates about a guy who's going to come play for you 2-3 years down the road.
It's kind of like mock drafts.
Just saying. It's just, at least mock drafts, you know, the guys are actually available. With these, it's like, dude, this is a 16-year-old kid. You think he's not going to change his mind between now and 2024?
I think going in this draft, you're going to have a lot of chaos like normal, and nobody can predict it. So why so many? That's all I'm saying. Like, tone it back just a little.
Yeah, any kind of recruiting news that I get that isn't a guy signing, I usually just scan right over it. Even though supposedly I'm following all these different ones. But with that being said, I've talked about this in the past, and we're going to actually do it by the time that I realize the way our schedule is going to be with football and then debate. Anyways, long story short, I realized I said I need to wait until after the actual today, and then I'll put it together, and we'll probably talk about it post Super Bowl because there's just going to be so much junk going on. But I've come out with this rating system, Justin, I think you're going to like, and it's going to combine the football recruiting, college football recruiting, who you lost, whether it's transfer, the draft, and who you brought in from the transfer portal. With all those combined, it'll be a ranking of the off season, because it is confusing, I think, to the average fan when you have all these different rankings and you think your team had a great offseason or a bad offseason, but you don't realize, they're not factoring in one of the others.
It's interesting. I'd like to see how spot on we actually hit it. So I'm interested to do that after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I've been working. You know what? I'll wait to do it on the day you're with me. On the Wednesday after the Super Bowl, we'll do it.
Just don't put Tennessee anywhere near the top and put the Tex on my team. If you want to put Florida State up there, that's fine. But,
no. This isn't like a rating system of this team will be ranked number 1 coming into next year. This is a rating system. What kind of offseason did you have this offseason? So and I haven't put the numbers together, so I don't know what I'm talking about with that. But even if Georgia has like a middle of the pack type of rating system, doesn't mean that they're not going to be the number 1 team in the country at the beginning of the year. Or Alabama, right? It's more for the teams that you'll see, hey, this team, everybody's been talking about how good they've done in the recruiting rankings, right? But no one's bringing up the fact that, 16 of their best players just said adios, muchacho. And that's why they had to go get a bunch of 18-year-olds, because the 20 and 21-year-olds just said, I'm out of here, dude. Can't take this. Or NIL, money, I'm out of here.
I think that's going to be more the norm. You're just going to have to reload every year. Got to have some deep pockets.
For instance, like there's one, and I haven't put the numbers together, but you see Florida with the number 13 overall recruiting ranking for 2023, but they've also lost like 26 players who have entered the transfer portal. That's not even counting the ones that have left for the draft. And I'm not just picking on Florida, but that's the first one that jumps out at me. Miami has had a terrible offseason, but ranking wise in the class, they've actually been given a high ranking for the high school recruiting, but in the transfer portal and whatnot, they're getting killed. Conversely, FSU's had a really good transfer portal. They've been in high school. Well, you got to factor them both in. You know, I know the FSU fans are, we've had the best offseason there is. I go, in theory, maybe-ish. But what's going to happen 2 years from now when these guys are either left to go play pro or on AARP or whatever the reason is, and you brought in a bunch of chum.
or you have a head coach that's more worried about a juice bar in the locker room and having the best roster on paper that just can't go out and perform. Thank you, Butch.
What about, see, I keep seeing that Deion's doing really well, right? And he's doing phenomenal in the portal. But his portal numbers, if you look at it, and he does have some high school recruits, but the portal numbers, he has guys coming in. They're giving him such a high rating because of the number of guys they have coming in. Because he went in and basically told the entire team at Colorado to kick rocks. So he's got like all these guys coming in, but you got to look at the quality of the athlete. He's got some really good high school players that are coming in, right? But that's got to be a factor too.
Because it's going to be tough to balance. You bring in a completely new roster and you gel the young and the old in there. Could have a diabolical locker room. Could be interesting to see how that turns out, especially considering the way that he kind of announced and some of the players they were transferring. And I know we've mentioned the videos when he first accepted the job. Yeah. I could see where you're going to have a lot of different personalities in there. So be interesting how he controls that as a head coach.
And see, conversely, he is, let me see what his actual ranking is. I hate when they do it that way. So he's 4th in the Pac-12 in high school rankings this year. And he's 27th overall. So that's pretty good for Colorado, actually. But I think what he's leaning on is he's got all these kids coming in. He got that 5-star cornerback, back-to-back years that he's had 5-star cornerback come to him. I forget his name, but
who else are you gonna play for?
Honestly, if you're the elite cornerback in the country, your dad and mom are probably like, go play for Deion. I remember him. You may not be like, I don't know who Deion is, other than, I see him in Aflac commercials. But your mom and dad are going to be like, dude, that was the guy. If anyone can teach you how to be the guy, and he's got the NFL connections, et cetera, et cetera. The question is, he brings in all these guys. Let's say he goes out and has a couple of good years at Colorado, and then he disappears. Whether he goes to a college, I still think he wants to go to the NFL. And he bounces. Well, all your dudes are going to bounce with him. And your 47th ranked high school recruiting class from whatever year is going to show. So that's a slippery slope that the teams or they're not schools anymore. The college football corporations, I guess we should call them. That's what you're dealing with too.
I don't think Colorado is going to be his final landing spot. I mean, there's nothing but upside when you take over a one-win program. But man, NFL, that's a tall order, getting grown men getting paid just like you to play ball. It's different when you got young men looking up and you're wanting to get them to that next level, and that's a little bit. Does that transfer over? I mean, I think you'd see more player coaches, or not that there aren't a lot of them, but doesn't always tend to pan out.
You see Ed Reed got canned before he ever started? Did you see this story? I don't even know if we've talked about this on the show. Ed Reed shot his mouth off on social media, talking about the facilities at Bethune-Cookman were terrible, and he was being applauded for taking an HBBC job. And before he could even get the ink to dry on the contract, they said, never mind, kick rocks. And now I think he's an assistant out in Colorado under Deion. I think that's how that landed.
I don't
Well,
know.
maybe they'll bring Vince Young back in there too, be the quarterback's coach. Talking about people that can blow a job before it starts.
But then Cookman said, "Dude, you're trashing us." You know, there was a board there that made that decision, and he may not have been wrong, but they're probably all sitting there going, "Do we really want this guy running our football team? Because he's going to have us bent over the rails once we get, because he hadn't actually signed the contract. He'd been offered, he'd taken it, and then he started trashing the facilities. He started going. I will say this is messed up. He went into the office. There's a video of it somewhere. He went into the office on what was supposed to be not necessarily his first day, but kind of getting to know the area, and they hadn't even cleaned up his office. The place looked like it had been ransacked by the FBI. It was junk everywhere, and you're like, and then he took the video, or I don't know if he did, but someone took the video and he put like the trash emoji and all that stuff and said facilities are garbage and da 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 da. And then the next day he goes, "What do you mean I don't have a job?" And I'd say 10 seconds later, he goes, "Never mind, I don't care, man. Dion wants me to go work for him at Colorado. Probably about the same pay, and I'm going to get much more exposure out there."
Yep. I tell you what, that's a heck of a combination as a recruit on the
Brady?
defensive side of the ball. Yeah. To have those two, yeah, there's going to be more than just
I
one.
don't have a defense.
That they might actually do.
Colorado might get into the playoffs and actually beat an SEC team because they're going to have a defense. I don't know what they're going to do offensively.
Oh, man, that's going to cause a city to get burned if that happens. I mean, they're not – SEC city isn't going to take that very kindly.
Just say, like every time we see the SEC go up against what, like when Bama played Washington, the one time that it was competitive was the Oregon-Auburn game, right? But other than that, typically it was like, oh, here we go. They're going to methodically win. It's not going to be a blowout. It's not going to be a bludgeoning. I'm talking about in the playoffs. The Georgia-Oregon game was just nasty. But it's going to be one of those games you're like, they're going to continue to score, and they're never going to be able to cross midfield, and it's going to be like 31-12, and it's never going to feel close. Colorado might actually have a defense.
That would, yeah.
And like you said, and if they start making a run to the college football playoffs, they've got to get Boomer, Chris Berman to do the highlights, because you got to have him with Colorado making big plays in the college football playoffs, going prime time, prime time, prime time. I'm going to pull for him.
I bet he's in charge of the hype videos, and we're going to see some good things this year. Yeah, I'm interested to see how they run out on the field.
I'm gonna pull for him, but it's gonna come back to bite me. They're gonna knock Florida State out of the playoffs or something. They're gonna do something. It'll either be Florida State or Tennessee's gonna be a casualty to Dion, and then I'm gonna be like, ah. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue to push off the subject that everyone's beaten to death: Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. We'll be back in a flash here on Braves Country HD.
Why do you keep your mouth shut? I'm not taking off my clothes today. I'm styling and profiling. You just be glad I'm here looking the way I look.
Armchair.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neal, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
The NFL playoffs are back, and that means the Armchair Quarterbacks Kickoff Show is back. Join Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks Conference Championship Sunday and Super Bowl Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern to 3 p.m. Eastern, to get you ready for the biggest games of the year. The Armchair Quarterbacks will be talking the spreads, prop bets, over-unders, stupid underdogs, and the locks. That's the Armchair Quarterbacks Kickoff Show, streaming right here on Braves Country HD and our radio affiliates. Want to chime in? Give us a call. 678-960-9700. That's 678-960-9700. Welcome back to Braves Country. Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 to 5 p.m. Drive time on WQEE. Welcome back. Figure if I ever have bad ideas, I'm going to make sure to do a full war with it and open up the phone lines. Area code 678-960-9700 if you want to chime in. We're here till the top of the hour. Get everyone's take on. Look, I mean, Brady retiring. I guess the reason why I've kind of got lost a little gas with this by the time you jumped on is the more and more I think about it, I'm not convinced he's going to retire. Real. I mean, I know he retired, but he did that last year this time too.
I don't think he's throwing another pass on the league. I think he's retired. You may see him going to the booth or something like that, but I don't think you're going to have him.
Well, he's got this 10-year, $375 million contract set up for when he is done playing. He signed that with Fox last year, so he'll slide into the booth. I'll tell you, he gets screwed out of this is Greg Olson, because Olson's calling the Super Bowl this Super Bowl for Fox, and I don't know what your thoughts are if you even paid attention, but I think he's phenomenal.
I love him in the booth. I got a little bit of ties to the Panthers days with my fandom there being my side team. But, odd man out. I tell you, it would be interesting if there's no way you're going to get the contracts to swap and you're going to have to breach one of them or have a large buyout. But, man, just one time, can I have Payton and Tom in there together? Can we get a special and just let them have a broadcast? Just one time. Manning and Brady.
I almost wonder if that's why Fox went so heavy to make sure that he didn't get a contract with ABC, ESPN, right? The fear of the two of them being on the same network. But as far as the Brady casts go, the Manning casts go, man, it was cool when it first started. I'm over it. I can't watch. They're not talking about the game. They're usually bringing like LeBron on and telling fart jokes or something. And I'm like, it's actually much better when they don't have anybody with them. And because the two of them as brothers kind of let their guard down and talk about the game on the field, which is what I want to hear when I tune into a game. I don't care about all these different. I feel like that's for the fan who's not a fan of the game, right? That they just want to see Brady or they might be just a fan of I keep saying Brady, of Manning. They might be a fan of Payton or Eli, whichever one. But I can't listen to it. If it was a game that I actually didn't give a rat's tootie about and it gets a blowout, and for some reason I've lost the ability to flip over to Netflix or any of the other devices that I go to, then yes, maybe, but
I'd just love to hear them break it down and explain it for the casual fan that really doesn't dive into the details. I think it would be fun. It's always fun when the announcer can call the play somewhat, unless it's your defense they're calling it against. But it's entertaining and it's fun to watch, especially when you can back it up and explain it. And it makes for a good product. And, man, I think them two would do great. But, hey, I think that's where he'll be. He'll be in the booth, and he'll have a good sidekick beside him.
I give him 3 weeks in the booth. He's going to do a game. He's like, that's it. I'm out. And I don't know who they're going to have next to him in the booth, but I'm assuming it's the same guy that's been doing the play-by-play. Kevin, I forget his last name, but he's solid. But man, I feel bad for Olsen. I think he's phenomenal. He's so much better than Tony Romo. I don't hate Tony Romo, but when you compare the two of them, he's so much better. Tony Romo does little things that you start paying attention. You're like, oh my God, I'm sorry.
Maybe they can knock off the little ESPN trial on Monday night that didn't work with that little sideline seat, and they can move Olsen up and down the sideline. Remember the little fancy chair they made when they had the 3-man cast, and just didn't quite work out the way they wanted. Guess it was about 2 years ago.
Yeah, I feel like if you're going to have Manning in there, you got to have a third guy that's an actual, maybe not play-by-play, but a guy who's going to keep them on the straight and narrow. And they don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
See, I would prefer that situation because they've tried to do this with Stephen A. Smith in basketball, and I'm like, oh, nobody wants to hear that. Man, give me some Charles Barkley. That would be fun. And I know they've had Barkley on the Manning cast, but I'm saying give me Barkley doing a game. Maybe you get a play-by-play guy, or at least someone to keep them on the straight and narrow. And you get Barkley and Shaq arguing during an entire basketball game. I would like to see that in a freaking football game. Give me Barkley and Shaq talking football with a play-by-play guy who's going, you two don't know what you're talking about.
Auburn, LSU.
Yeah. And randomly, I don't know. I'm trying to think of the third sidekick, but you couldn't do the Mannings because they're already locked up on ABC, but it would be funny if you had, Manning, Barkley, Shaq would be comedy gold. With one random, literally, he would have to be the straight man. You couldn't have someone else who's funny in there because there'd be too many yucking going on. No one would ever talk about the game. You got to have one guy who's so irritated that they won't stay focused that he actually continues to deliver you the game. And the fans at home would be like, I wish that guy would shut up. I want to listen to this. Even I would be like, dude, shut up. Shaq is about to choke out Peyton Manning. Just be quiet.
And Charles Barkley's done bet them both, and 2 paychecks on a hole-in-one after the game or after the broadcast.
If Manning makes one more crack about LSU's basketball program being dirty, or Eli would be the first one getting clothesline. Man. No shot.
Oh, Eli. In the wake of Brady retirement, is it bad that that's my favorite Brady game, the David Tyree catch in the Super Bowl?
I
know that wasn't a good game for Brady, but it was a memorable game.
I'll tell you what, that one where the Giants beat him again. Was that 2011? That pass down the sideline that he made to his name. Oh man, Victor Cruz was in the game, but that's not who made the catch. Manningham. That pass. You talk about dropping a dime in there in a big position.
Now that would be a good little booth right there. Take Payton out, put Eli and Tom in there, and let's hear it back and forth.
They need to have David Tyree on the Manning cast. I'd like to see Tyree go, man. Eli, you ain't any good, man. I made you. If I had stick 'em on my helmet, you would not be here right now.
The Patriot Killers. I'm just saying.
The only way it could have ever been better is if Peyton had either never gotten the second championship with Denver or just never got one together at all, and would have to listen to Eli talk about all his rings. The only way I think is better. The question that I have is if they're going to go to Manning, not Manning, Brady in the play-by-play booth, what happens to Olsen? I know Fox probably has him in a contract. He's going to slide into another one, but eventually he's going to get free. Who's going to pony up? Because I think he's phenomenal.
Yeah, he'll probably be kicked over to your Panthers broadcast or your regional for that area just to keep a familiar face in the booth. But I think they'll be the 1B. They'll have the second game of the week.
Oh, yeah. It'll be him, and I don't know who because I would think Burkhardt, that's his name, Kevin Burkhardt. I think Kevin Burkhardt will continue to be the play-by-play. He's good. That poor sap's probably going to end up with Joe Davis, who I just, man, I can't get behind him. He is, I don't know what it is about him, but it's almost like he tries to come off as if he played the game, and the moment the camera flashes on him, you're like, that didn't happen. Like that dude's not even a punter. Like there's no way this guy ever played ball. You don't have to play ball to call the game, but the way he comes off sometimes, it's almost like, be like one of us saying, man, come on, toughen up, play.
Kind of like Saragusa back in the day.
Come on, Brock Purdy, what's your problem? Yeah, but at least Saragusa actually, we know he played.
True.
What was the did you see Ric Flair made a comment about Brock Purdy?
No.
I'm trying to remember what he said word for word, but it was something of the fact that I had such and such injury. Get your bleep in there and play.
What do you do with that? That's a lot of options that the 49ers have. And do you stick with it? Did you see enough to say, hey, that's our guy? We come back from the injury. A lot of choices in the quarterback carousel. It's going to play out over the next week or so.
I'll tell you what I do.
What do you do?
In about 2 months, when Brady's tired of hearing his kids scream, or he's tired of being left alone, and he's bored, I go and I call Brady. I say, look, Brock Purdy is not going to be ready for the season. You come in, you sign a 1-year deal. You will be able to finish your career as a San Francisco 49er, your boyhood idol team, where you're from. We've got a good enough team to make a run. We don't have to sign you to Jack Diddley because that's not what it's about for you. And can I talk you into a team that's going to have Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, Run CMC, and oh, by the way, I think you like tight ends. Have you ever heard of Kittle? And this defense is going to be just as good as any of the Patriots' defense.
I really dislike you for that scenario you just laid out there. I really dislike you for it. But a couple months from now, they're going to have to dig him off Giselle's social media feed. He's going to be lonely and not have the game to take his mind off of it. So maybe he does do it. I think he's done though. I don't think you come back again. There can only be one Brett Favre. You can't unretire and retire and unretire again, can you?
Yes.
No. I don't think he can, man. I think he's done.
We're going to be going through this with Aaron Rodgers for the next 3 years. His cryptic messages on whether he wants to play or not.
Well, I think he wants to play. I just
I think he does too, but he'll throw it out there every once in a while, like him not playing as an option. I get it, man. He's up there, and he does not have the fire that Brady has, right? I think he does want another Super Bowl, but it's not one of those fires that eats him alive. He's just as happy doing yoga in Malibu, right?
I think he wants some weapons, and I don't think they've replaced Adams, and I don't.
Jets.
Nathaniel Hackett makes an interesting case with him being the new OC. They have familiarity, and
did you hear his podcast this week?
No.
He made several comments about how. Let's see if I can try to get that audio down the road. But he made several comments how Nathaniel Hackett and him had such a relationship that he made it fun. It was one of the few guys that he's been around in the last several years that made it fun to go to work. And if that isn't a statement that makes me go Jets green, then what is?
I think I read the transcript, but I haven't heard it. I even mentioned his wife and daughter, if I'm not mistaken. They seemed like they were pretty close based on what I read. The other interesting thing is, will the Packers actually get rid of him? What are your better options? What? Or is this just Aaron being Aaron saying, hey, this is 2 months of I want to go take a hiatus, and I'll let you know, and just I'll get back with
Jordan Love. You see what you actually have, because it sounds like that that the Packers are ready to move on because they see the window closing.
Well,
And they've got these young guys. They've got Christian Watson and they've got Romeo Doubs, and they can see where they can build something with youth. So you bring Jordan, although Jordan Love has not looked impressive when he's played, but you bring him in. Maybe a part of the package is, I want your number one pick, but hey, send that Zach Wilson kid over here too, because I'm going to have these two knuckleheads compete. And if both of them stink, that's okay. It just means I get the number one pick next year. You know? The other big question to me is what happens with Miami and Tua. Because you can't have scrambled eggs out there playing freaking quarterback.
I think their OC used to be with Garoppolo, didn't he? McDaniel. Yeah. So
yeah.
Be interesting to see. I think if they do move on from Tua, Garoppolo with that connection probably would be where they go. But again, who knows? I don't think you give up on him yet.
I mean, he's not even at the Pro Bowl because he's in protocol still. What? They're not even playing a game. So he can't even go out there because they're saying that they don't want him to fly. What? Oof. And oh, by the way, all this leads to Tyler Huntley going into the Pro Bowl. What? Guy played 5 games and not well. He's going to the Pro Bowl. We got to jam out of here. What is your walk-off for the day, sir?
Well, no matter how bad you think your NFL team is off, just remember the Broncos are spending $70 million for a head coach and a quarterback for the foreseeable future. Good luck building a supporting cast around that.
Jeez. What a nightmare that is. We'll talk about that next week. We didn't even get to it because of all the stuff. My walk-off for the day, it's a good hoops night. You got the Hawks playing tonight at 10, Tennessee, Florida. Georgia is playing Auburn. All that going on tonight. So it's a good hoops night. And we're still 2 weeks away from the Super Bowl. But I saw it today. 57 days away from opening day. Baby, let's go.
It's getting close.
Yes,
Can't
sir.
Wait.
Great job, bud. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks on 99.1 FM WQEE, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, and simulcasting on youtube.com/@Braves Country. Braves Country comes your way weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Please follow, like, and subscribe today. Armchair Quarterback Radio, your first choice for Southern sports.
Something of the 5th of September. Something of the 5th of September. She said a lot that I can't remember. Something of the 5th. Gonna get another cigarette, please. Can I get another cigarette, please? Yeah, I know I live to regret it. Just give me another cigarette, please.
You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.
Are you looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile. Right now, get a $99 new patient special, including x-rays and exam. Maybe you're looking for veneers. Most Valuable Smiles veneer special includes 1 free veneer with every 5 purchased. Or get that bright white smile you've always...
The NFL playoffs are back, and that means the Armchair Quarterbacks kickoff show is back. Join Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks Conference Championship Sunday and Super Bowl Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern to 3 p.m. Eastern, to get you ready for the biggest games of the year. The Armchair Quarterbacks will be talking the spreads, prop bets, over-unders, stupid underdogs, and the locks. That's the Armchair Quarterbacks Kickoff Show, streaming right here on Braves Country HD and our radio affiliates.